Twisted Metal. Like it or not, I'm sure you've heard about it at one point. Whether it be the PlayStation 1 classics, the PSP, PS2, or PS3 games. This game was super popular in the 90s. It started the vehicular combat genre. Now, I'm not saying it perfected it. I do think this game does a lot of good things, but there's a lot of things I don't think it does right, and it needs to be addressed. That's exactly what we're going to do today. I do think the series is dead now, which is, like, it sounds hypocritical, but I do think it's a shame because there's not games that are, like, this game doesn't take itself seriously. And that's that's one thing I can praise it for. It's just, it's all over the place. Today we're going to be taking a look at what made this game good and what made this game bad. We're going to be taking a look at Twisted Metal 1, Twisted Metal 2 World Tour, Twisted Metal 3, Twisted Metal 4, and Twisted Metal Small Brawl. So, my name's 32-Bit Bailey, and welcome to Flashback Friday, where we take a look at all these games from the past, all the way up to the early 2000s. So I hope you're ready, and enjoy the video. Released on November 5th, 1995, Twisted Metal was the first of its kind. This game was received overall pretty well for the time, getting an 8.5 from Game Informer and 7 out of 10 from IGN. Not bad at all really. Now there's a few things that makes the game great. Controls, content, story, and graphical appearance. Is this game great? No! And as much as I would have wanted to like this game, I just can't. Let's start with the controls. What even is this? It has to be one of the weirdest things to control. When you're new to this game, it's damn near impossible to play. You'll be hitting everything, sliding into the walls, getting stuck, clipping and flying everywhere. I have completed this game at least 5 times, and every time I come back, I struggle for like a good 40 minutes just to get a feel for it. And even then, it's not that easy. The physics don't help the game either. I feel like a bouncy ball having a stroke. For example, if you go off a ramp, you don't just land, you roll, you fly, you spaz, you're all over the place. And it's not just you, it's everyone in the damn map. Not even the computers know what the hell's going on. Okay, so let's talk about story. What's going on here? Who's this? Who's that? Who's that? Hey, fat fucking kid on a broken bench, who is that? Well, apparently he is Calypso. He's the host of Twisted Metal. He also runs a theme park on his days off. Twisted Metal takes place in the far, far future, December 24th, 2005 to be exact. The whole point of Calypso's contest is to kill the other drivers. Last person alive wins a prize. Now, what's the prize, you may ask? Calypso offers anything you desire, no matter what, making the game have multiple endings. 12 endings to be exact. Did I complete the game 12 times? Hell no, I had a hard enough time to complete it once. If you're really set on seeing all the endings, there's a video on YouTube I will be linking in the bottom where you can see all the endings. One of the flaws of this game is the difficulty. It's set just a little too high. Oh, wait. There's a setting for this. Let's try easy. There we go. Okay, I got this. Never mind. I did not notice a difference from normal to easy, and you'd be snorting snot through your cockle if you think I'm gonna try hard. So what's next? Let's talk about content. I was actually impressed at the variety of vehicles you got to choose from. They took a more quality over quantity approach. You got a monster truck driven by 2 radical kids that are part of the Compensation Nation. A taxi driver driven by Charlie Kane. Remember that name, it will be mentioned again in the video. Next up is Darkseid, an emo who drives a big truck and doesn't give a fuck. Captain Spears drives an old beat-up muscle car. You know the dude from the movie Ghost where they're like, "Oh yeah, let's make some pottery, yeah!" He's in the game as well. He drives an old Corvette. Okay, the Grim Reaper. He drives a motorbike. Very underwhelming if you ask me. Commander Manson drives a Hummer tank. He's a more evil version of Captain Spears. Angela Fortin drives the Baja buggy. Makes a squirt every time you use its special weapon or pass it on the vehicle selection screen. Agent Stone, very generic name by the way, works for the FBI. That's really all I can say. Bruce Cohane? Okay, I got this straight off the Wikipedia, by the way, so I'm just gonna read this out loud. Grew up in the hood. He drives a bulky pink lowrider with some hip-hop hydraulics and a window-rattling bass. Okay. Next up is Carl Roberts. He's a cop. Fun fact, in the live-action series, he's played by Mark Everest, who also starred in unforgettable TV shows and movies like, let's see. He was in Law and Order. I mean, who wasn't? I guess that's cool. Okay, anyways. And last but not least, Sweet Tooth, probably the most iconic driver in the series, and a good portion of why people are scared of clowns. He drives an ice cream truck. Each driver has their own special stats, weapons, and backstory. Reading them today offers the best cheese, and I am a big fan of the cheese. But all jokes aside, I love how there's a twist to each ending, with the moral of the story being be careful what you wish for. Now, if you were to play this game today, who would you choose? Sweet Tooth, no doubt. Don't even ask that question. I couldn't even pass the third level with any other the drivers. With any... Blech. I could not even pass the third level with any of the other drivers. The bike may offer the best weapon, but Sweet Tooth has the perfect stats. Twisted Metal has a decent amount of maps, but there's a few issues with them. One, they're too big. I don't know how many times I would just be driving around looking for the other opponents. Two, maps are all the same. They offer no diversity whatsoever. It just feels like nighttime city that gets pretty dull quick. And finally, it really doesn't feel like the city is alive or a battle's taking place. The lights are all on, not a single building is destroyed. It just feels like everybody's gone out of town or shopping while this contest was panning out. Let's discuss graphics. I should inform everybody that I won't take points off my review if the graphics are bad. If the game can hold its own with every other aspect we've talked about, it's a pass for me. If the game has visually pleasing graphics, it will receive a higher point though. However, this game is not visually impressive. Everything's just kind of meshed together, giving this look of like a 6-year-old Drew's first car. The UI is so basic, it could represent almost any other game. The map is a nightmare just to look at. A bunch of dots flying everywhere with no indication of walls, jumps, or anything else. One thing I do like though is the hand-drawn art for the cars and drivers. Something I wish they still did in today's games. Okay, I just want to rant about this for a second. In the final match, previous champion Minion, he drives a tank by the way, he cheats. He fucking cheats. He's a fucking cheater. Look at this. If I were to fall off the roof, I'd die. Him? No. Slap on the wrist, keep going. Slap on the wrist, eh? Eh? Fuck you. So in conclusion, bad graphics, bad controls, an alright story. Very cheesy, but I'm a fan of that, so. Good car and driver selection, mediocre map design, and poor graphics. Which, like I said, I don't count that, just getting it out there. I'd give Twisted Metal for the PlayStation 1 a 3 out of 10. This game has not aged well at all, and there are better Twisted Metal games out there. Speaking of which, let's take a look at Twisted Metal 2 World Tour. Ah, yes. The first thing that comes to mind when thinking about post-apocalyptic vehicular combat death matches. 70s porn music. Right from the start, I can see some decent improvements in the menus and graphics. Thank you for not hiding the password screen. I will be needing that. Let's dive right in and talk about the story. Not much has changed, really. It takes place 1 year after Twisted Metal and Calypso's thinking where to host the next contest. He comes to the conclusion that the contest will be held all around the world, and then flies away in his blimp. The end. It's nothing to write home about, but it gets the job done, I guess. Me personally, I got most of the story elements from reading the character bio and watching the endings. Each driver has a small story describing about what they desire if they win the contest. Like the previous game, each ending has a twist that somehow twists their words in a way that's more of a punishment than a reward. It kind of reminds me of that book Monkey's Paw. There's a total of 14 endings, 2 more than the previous game, which add a bit more replayability. So who are these drivers and what is their weapon of choice? Well, we have 9 returning contestants from the original game and 5 new contestants. Although the 9 returning contenders share the same vehicle name, some of them have new drivers. Marcus drives Roadkill. Hammerhead is driven by Mike and Stu Pickles. Outlaw 2 is controlled by Captain Jamie Roberts, sister of Carl Roberts. Mr. Grimm Sadboy drives Mr. Grimm. Great job on the name there. Thumper is driven by the original driver Bruce Colhane, and Spectre is driven by Ken. As for new drivers, we got Twister, a Formula 1 car that goes whoosh whoosh whoosh. The car is driven by Amanda Watts. Next up is Axel. This vehicle is driven by Axel. He drives himself. I'll give an A for creativity, but what in the name of fuck were they thinking when they made this? Shadow, a decked out hearse driven by Mortimer. Okay, so they say this is a new driver, but it's basically Pit Viper without the squirt. Now it's driven by Krista Sparks. As for the final 2 contestants, you got Sweet Tooth and Minion. Minion being last year's Twisted Metal champion and Sweet Tooth being the face of the series. Now the reason I'm talking about them last is because they're locked. You don't unlock these cars by completing the game. No. You unlock them by cheat codes. I honestly don't know why though. You fight Minion and Sweet Tooth in the game. Why not win them when you defeat them? Now there's one more driver I did not mention. Charlie Kane. You might remember that name. I talked about it last video. He was the taxi driver. In the last mission of the game, you find out he is Darktooth, Sweet Tooth's father. You killed Sweet Tooth in the previous game. That's apparently why he's locked, but this has no consistency to the game because you fight him in previous matches. So, anyways, this battle made me shit when I was younger. You got a black ice cream truck 3 times the size of you that shoots flaming heads while a spinning flaming clown skull is on the top. I mean, it couldn't get any worse, right? Wrong. After you destroy the ice cream truck, the flaming clown skull chases you around the map at lightning speed.
Holy shit!
Oh, I guess it was so intense that the PS1 couldn't even handle it. Well, anyways, after that's done, that's it, really. You get to see one of the 14 endings based on the character you chose. Now, we talked about the cars and the story. What else does this game offer? Well, we have 8 completely new maps compared to the 6 that Twisted Metal 1 offered. And I can say I love these maps. They're exactly what I wanted from the first game. They're unique, interactive, and just the right size. Unlike Twisted Metal 1, it feels like shit is going on. Stuff is blowing up. You see stuff in the background. It's an apocalypse. And there are so many hidden areas that makes this map even more interactive than before. Another thing you can do is actually blow up your surrounding objects. For example, in Paris, you can blow up the Eiffel Tower, creating a path to the roof to collect more weapons. Just little details like that make the game so much more enjoyable. There are 3 more maps in the game, which I can't show unfortunately because they are only accessible in multiplayer. I'm not a big fan of that, locking content behind certain play modes of the game. I could go without that. So we have covered story and content. Now let's talk about the controls. And this is where it starts to go downhill really. They changed a bit of things here and there, like the ability to move your car in any direction when stopped, and adjusted some of the steering, but it still doesn't save it. Your car still flies all over the place like it's running on Red Bull instead of gas. I do think the map helps though, with the controls just being wide open and a bit more forgiving. Now, why in God's name is this game so hard? What the hell? I've tried 15 times to pass the championship with 3 different drivers and no luck. And then when I thought I was doing good, I got this. This is low. If you're gonna stop the game halfway through because I have set it to a lower difficulty, why even offer it? That'd be like offering a kid an ice cream cone with diabetes and punching him in the face before he even eats it. At least let me die on my own failure. Don't stop me. I also had cheat codes enabled just to get through this whole game. I had a really hard time playing this. And last but not least, graphics. They were okay. They were a good improvement from the first game, but still kind of looks like a blocky mess. And what is this animation? Why is Calypso anime? Where is his rotten chicken face? So many questions and no answers. Maybe I should enter the contest and find out why they changed the art direction. Not a bad idea. Overall, I give Twisted Metal 2 World Tour a 5 out of 10. A good improvement from what the original one offers, and that's a step in the right direction. So now that Twisted Metal 1 and 2 are done, we're going to be taking a look at Twisted Metal 3. This one I'm least familiar with. And when people talk about Twisted Metal, I've never heard of this game. Like, everybody talks about 4, 2, 1, or Twisted Metal Black. Why not this one? Well, apparently this was the first game that 989 Studios developed for them, and, well, they did do a good job. There was a lot of good and a lot of bad, but more bad than good. Like, I really don't know how to explain it. They changed so much without changing anything at all. Now, they had to use a new game engine, so this might be one of the reasons why. New game engine fixed some of the physics, which I will be talking about in the video, but it also just a lack of originality had plagues this game. Look, there's an ad for Twisted Metal 4. We're going to be talking about that game soon. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna go now.
I am Calypso. Each year I gather the 12
Okay, whoa,
whoa,
hold it. What is this? Let's back things up a bit. It looks awful. It's poorly edited, cars are flying all over the place, they reuse footage, and what is up with these characters and their animations? There's so much plastic surgery here, the Kardashians would be jealous. And that music. Damn, there sure is some rockin' beats. If I was like 12. Well, I've had just about enough of that. So now we can finally play the game. Huh. The main menu is, interesting. You get all the drivers battling in the background while you're setting things up. That's actually really cool. But it lacks any kind of menu music and it makes it seem a little unpolished. Same with the character bio. Everything just kind of goes silent. Where's the fornication beats? Hold on, let me fix something. That's a lot better. Now I want to talk about the story. It's the exact same plot as Twisted Metal 1 and 2, the only difference is the ending. You think with 989 being a new developer to the series, they could have spiced things up a bit. Oh well, let's discuss in-game graphics. This is by far the best looking game visually so far. The cars are very well detailed and I love the damage model. And the maps have very good textures for the time as well. The UI has also been changed to a much more suiting theme that actually has some personality. The weapon icons are also 3D, which is neat if you're a 3D kinda dude. Now notice how I said the maps have good textures and I didn't say anything else. That's because it's the only positive thing to say about them. These have to be the worst battle maps I've ever seen in a game like this. They're small, bland, dark, flat, and empty. There's no big secrets in the map like there was in Twisted Metal 2. Everything seems fake, almost like you're in a movie set. Take Washington DC for example, just a square map with 90% grass. How about Egypt? Just fucking sand and pyramids. Like who thought this was a good idea? Let's discuss the new drivers. First up is Bob the Builder. He drives a coked up scoop searching for revenge after Handy Mandy put him out of business. Club Kid is like one of those dads that are having a midlife crisis, buying a car that he once owned, partying all night long, and killing people. You know, the things that people with midlife crisis do. Firestarter, driven by Damien Coles. His wish is to make Smokey the Bear watch as he
burns down all the forests with his animal friends inside and to scream for help. Smokey will not be able to answer a damn thing you say, and he knows it too. The only way out for Smokey is a fiery death!
Oh, sorry about that, we seem to have gone a little off track. And finally, Flower Power, driven by Amber Rose. She basically wants the opposite of what Damien wants. Something that 989 did right is the controls. So much better. I can actually play the game now. Thank you. The physics are still a little interesting, but somehow it just works. For content, not much else has really changed from the previous game. You got 14 drivers and 8 maps, same as Twisted Metal 2. It almost feels like they were scared to add something new or change things up a little. It's just a copy paste. But that's the problem. Too much of the same can lead to repetition, and a game becoming stale leads to a crappy game. This review's a lot shorter than the other ones, but that's due to the fact that Twisted Metal 1, 2, and 3 are basically the same. Like, you can't keep dissecting the same thing over and over. You're kicking a dead horse, figuratively speaking. I don't feel like they put much effort into this game. They just made it what Twisted Metal 2 was, with some improvements and some downgrades, in my opinion. The game just kind of exists, really. So, in conclusion, we got good graphics, minus that awful fucking CG intro, good controls, horrible maps, like, fucking bad, and a lack of new content. Twisted Metal gets a 4 out of 10. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a thing. Now, let's whoosh 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 to Twisted Metal 4.
turn into months. Months into years. Desire turns into envy. And envy turns into a plan. Calypso's time as the carnival's master of ceremonies came to an end. My master was ready to take his rightful place, seated at the throne of the Twisted Metal Empire!
Twisted Metal 4. Out of all the games that I've talked about so far, this is the one I've anticipated the most. This and Twisted Metal 2 were the games I grew up with, but Twisted Metal 4 was the only one I was able to finish 100% without help from anybody. I remember this game being one of my favorites for the PlayStation 1, but that was about 10 years ago, and although my taste for games hasn't really changed, I definitely can tell a good game from a bad one. With that said, let's dive in. Oh yeah, one last thing I forgot to mention in the previous game review. Twisted Metal 3 and Twisted Metal 4 are not canon to Twisted Metal 1 and 2. If you were to play these games today, and you're wondering why there are so many inconsistencies, that's why. So much like Twisted Metal 1, 2, and 3, the story is very similar. There are a few differences in this one though, however. There's a completely different origin story. Apparently Twisted Metal did not start in 2005, like stated in Twisted Metal 1, it now takes place in the early 1900s, and is treated with a more lighter tone than Twisted Metal 1 and 2. Another change is that Sweet Tooth is now in charge of the contest after overthrowing Calypso. May I just say the animation is a lot better, not great, but better than Twisted Metal 3, and the intro is a lot easier to watch because of it. I take that back. Twisted Metal 4 has the most content to offer so far, with 22 contestants, the ability to make your own contestant, and 16 battle maps. 8 of those maps being exclusive to deathmatch, single, or multiplayer. All except 7 of the contestants are completely new to the series and only seen in this game. So let's get started. Orbital drives a McLaren F1 and looks like Harvey Dent. Pizza Boy, driven by Connor Lasagna, fuck it. He drives a 1999 Honda Civic and wants what every other Honda Civic driver wants, to win a race. He also looks like one of those kids that was like really edgy and had the flame shirt back in grade 1 and just never really grew up. Calypso, the previous host of the Twisted Metal contest, now a contestant. He drives a Soviet mobile missile launcher. Quattro drives a hovercraft. He looks like RoboCop and Paul Blart's bastard child. Google Eyes drives an exterminator van. Basically, he wishes to eradicate all the bugs in the world. He's basically Dale Gribble off King of the Hill.
It's happening! The harvest has begun!
Meter Maid driven by hold on.
Zanita Kirby.
Basically a crazy bitch who destroys other people's lives. Sounds like my ex. Microblast drives a tiny toy car. His wish is to become taller. You know what's funny? He looks exactly like somebody I used to work with, and I'm like not joking. He looks exactly like him. It's okay. Next up is the Trash Man, driven by Danny DeVito. Who else would it be? Next up is the Jones, and oh my god, why do they look like that? Look at the kid. It looks like a fucking spider. This has to be the scariest thing I've seen on any of the Twisted Metal titles to date. They all look, well, fucked. Okay, up next, oh my. say about this?
Just say something positive so they don't piss people off.
Okay. Damn, Bruce Jenner really let himself go.
God damn it.
And last but not least, Mr. Zombie, driven by Rob Zombie. The singer Rob Zombie? Okay, I bet I can guess his wish. It's probably to make good music. The next vehicles I'm going to show you don't have info on who drives them or any kind of character bio whatsoever. They don't even have a unique ending, they just get some generic bullshit. Considering that these were former bosses that you fought through the game, it's really disappointing to know nothing about them whatsoever. Hell, even Sweet Tooth has no bio, the face of the series. Come on guys, what the hell are you doing? So the vehicles are Crusher, Moonbuggy, Super Thumper, RC Car, Super Axle, Super Auger, Super Slam, Minion, and Sweet Tooth. That's a lot of super. Like I said, there's not much to say about these because there's no information. But let's talk about the custom car screen. Now, before you squirt your dirt, I must tell you, it's no need for Speed Underground. The customization is bare bones, extremely limited. You can choose 1 out of 3 options for each category, i.e. paint, body style, etc. You then choose your own special move and slogan.
You suck!
You can have up to 30 custom car options, which is pretty impressive. But then I think to myself that they are implying that I must complete the game 30 times. Okay, the maps. They happen to be some of the best maps I've played in a Twisted Metal game. There's lots of space, secrets, very good detail, and destructible. It seems that
989 Studios
finally got some good designers. Now I will say that Twisted Metal 2 had better maps, but Twisted Metal 4 is definitely second place. So one thing that's always plagued this series is the controls. Oh, you gotta be fuck off. So one thing that always plagued this series is the controls. How do they hold up? Well, the controls are okay, no different than Twisted Metal 3, but the issue lies in the physics this time. My great-grandma's gravy bowl, what is this? This has to be the worst physics I've ever seen in a game ever. The cars are walking on their bumpers, for God's sakes. Flying in and out of walls, getting stuck, and they're just erratic. It's crazy. They're all over the place. It can make some jumps impossible. Hell, not just jumps, just about anything, really. Why would they change this from Twisted Metal 3? I have no clue. This is definitely a step backwards. Visually, the game looks really good. Much like Twisted Metal 3, not much has changed. The cars look really good. The maps have very impressive detail as well. I do feel like the particle and flame effects could use a bit of work though. Same with the damage model. We have seen progression in almost every other aspect through the series, but no progress has been made here, and it's starting to feel a bit dated. So with all that said, we're looking at about a 6 out of 10. Not bad, but let's see if Twisted Metal Small Brawl, the final game of tonight, can take the lead. Twisted Metal 4 has the most cocked offer. So, now that we covered the 4 other games, it's time to take a look at Twisted Metal Small Brawl. One second. So here we are. After 4 games, it's finally time to talk about Twisted Metal Small Brawl. This game has to be the most obscure game in the entire franchise, whether that be its late launch date, its simplistic gameplay, or just the fact that it wasn't marketed well. About a year ago, I sat down and played this game, and I despised it. I found it was clunky, broken, slow, and just a mess. I recently just played through it again for this review. Oh my god. And I can say that my opinions have changed somewhat for it. Unlike Twisted Metal 3 and 4, Twisted Metal Small Brawl is developed by Incognito Entertainment, a completely new studio, but the developers behind Twisted Metal 1 and 2. They also made Twisted Metal Head On, Twisted Metal Black, and Twisted Metal 2012. So enough of me yapping, let's get started. So, much like the other 4 games, last car / driver standing gets their wish granted. But seeing as this game revolves around RC cars, nobody's lives are on the line. Calypso has changed from being a satanic mastermind to a school bully, and all the other drivers are toned down as well. I'd like to add more, but I don't feel there's a need to, so moving on! Twisted Metal Small Brawl contains less content than Twisted Metal 4, but still offers a good amount of variety. We have 16 contestants, 11 battle maps, and 6 game modes. I'm glad that they actually added some new game modes for this game. It's long overdue if you ask me. Endurance being the newest addition to the series. Overall, it's alright. You get 1 life and you take out as many cards as you can. The issue is, it gets kind of boring after you've killed 20 cards, because the difficulty never increases, so you're stuck battling the same 2 cards over and over and over again. The other game modes are Tournament, Challenge, Head-to-Head, Cooperative, and Free-for-All. The last 3 I was unable to test due to Friends.exe failing to boot. One thing I really did like about this game is that all the drivers from Twisted Metal 2 reappear in this game. I found that Twisted Metal 2 had the best and most diverse character roster. I also find it funny how it just throws shade on Twisted Metal 3 and 4, acting like they never existed. Like David Jaffe stated, the director of Twisted Metal 1 and 2, they're good games, they're just not good Twisted Metal games. Ouch, that's a fucking burn. Let's talk about the contestants. We got Crimson Fury, Hammerhead, Slam, Outlaw, Shadow, Spectre, Sweet Tooth, Thumper, Twister, Warthog, Mr. Grimm, Darkside, Mime, Trapper, Piecemeal, and Axel. 3 of these characters being completely new to the series. It is unknown who drives these vehicles and what their desires are, as they don't have any special ending whatsoever. It feels like they just kinda gave up halfway through, only making what they had to. So after Single Track, now Incognito Entertainment, made 2 games, and had a lot of time to think about how they can improve the controls, did they do it? Yes, they did, surprisingly. The controls are a lot better in this game, probably one of the best in the series to be honest. The cards are responsive, handle nicely, and just have a very pleasant feel to them. But here's the kicker and the nutter. They are so slow. It feels like an eternity just to get to the other side of the map. Even boosting doesn't help. It feels like I'm in molasses. And unfortunately the combat suffers from this as well. It doesn't feel like anything is really happening. Everything has this light tone, just like a flick on your wrist. When it comes to physics, Twisted Metal developers don't understand gravity whatsoever. Twisted Metal 1, your car felt like a block of spazzing wood. In Twisted Metal 2, your car was a spinning, spazzing block of wood. Twisted Metal 3, your pet wooden block is having seizures and you're feeding it Red Bull. Twisted Metal 4, your block of wood had its body possessed and is vomiting all over the screen. Now, Twisted Metal Small Brawl is like your block of wood that has been shot up into space, floating in the void of nothingness, waiting for something to happen. When you jump, you don't just land, you kinda float down to the ground like a feather. It just really diminishes the fast-paced combat that Twisted Metal has always had to offer. Yes, I am aware that it does sound hypocritical saying there are good controls but bad physics that diminish controls. It's really hard to explain. It's one of those things you just gotta try for yourself. Twisted Metal Small Brawl has this very bland look. Straying away from this for a second, let's look back again and talk about the battle maps. It's always been a hit or miss for the series, and in this game, they're definitely a miss. They're not the worst, don't worry Twisted Metal 3, that crown is still yours, but they're very lackluster. The football field is just a flat area. The kitchen is so small, like, what the heck? The playground is also lacking in detail. The mini golf course was just a hectic maze, just driving around looking for contestants to kill. Guys, if you want to pay homage to Twisted Metal 1, there's a better way to do that. The slaughterhouse seemed very out of place. It's just laid out weird. I didn't enjoy the treehouse level, that was pretty cool. Well, until I fell off. And the movie theater was just bad. Why bad? Well, here's a few reasons. 1, the weapons don't shoot upwards in this game. They'll just explode in front of you, meaning that you have to be on a completely flat area when attacking, which is like 80% impossible considering the map is almost all incline. 2, the proportionings are way out of whack, and this goes for the entire game. 1 minute I'm half the size of a slide, the next minute I'm not even the size of this guy's shoe. And 3, well, I'm sure there's something to complain about if I could actually look harder. The cards are very detailed, each with their own custom packaging, giving that RC Pro-Am feel to it. But then there are the 3 new contestants, which don't even have their own box. I can understand Piecemeal not having one since it's just a mash of all the other cars, but what about the 2 other vehicles? This is what I meant by just feeling rushed. There's just little odds and ends that are not tied up. The damage model in this game is exceptionally good. Not Destruction Derby or NASCAR Racing good, but a step up from the previous titles. The last thing that I feel like I need to bring up for this game is the final boss. I didn't really talk about bosses through the game that much, but I feel like this one deserves a bit of attention. Water time. When you fight piecemeal, you're also fighting the other contestants at the same time. Kill one, he comes back. Do a bit of damage, he goes away, contestants come back, etc. This is the only game that I know in the entire franchise that has done this. And it made the boss 10 times more enjoyable. Just because it was different. And that's really what this series needs, and it's just not accomplishing. It's too much the same, and it just got even more repetitive over time. Now, I'm sure if you were growing up in this era, and these games came out on a yearly or bi-yearly basis, that, you know, it would be fresh and new again, you know? Like, it wouldn't be stale. I played these games within a month. That's what I really noticed. It just got boring. Twisted Metal Small Brawl gets a 5 out of 10. They could have done a lot better, but they could have done a lot better. So, at the start of the video, I stated my opinions on the series. I also said I would like to discuss my reasons why I think the series is dead. There are a few good hints on this. The first being, I don't think Sony is much into multiplayer as some people may think. The studios that Sony owns or works with make single-player story-driven games. The Last of Us, Days Gone, God of War, just to name a few. Twisted Metal doesn't have enough meat on the bone. This kind of game has its focus on gameplay, and gameplay only. The story is just along for the ride. Another reason I believe that the series is dead has to do with the shutdown of the studio Eat, Sleep, and Play, closing their doors on June 26, 2017, owned by the director of the Twisted Metal series. Those are just two of my thoughts. Do I think the series would be good in today's gaming environment? Yeah, I really do. This game would make an epic battle royale game. Imagine 100 cars battling across this big ass map fighting for the last car standing. Now I must say, I'm not big on battle royale games, and enjoy a more split screen or single player experience. But I can't lie when I say that this would truly be epic. Rise up gamers. So there you have it, all 5 Twisted Metal games for the PlayStation 1. In the end, Twisted Metal is a game that pioneered the genre, but never perfected it. They're not awful games, but they're definitely starting to show their age. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. This is a long ass video, and it took over a month and a half to make. If you did, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.